In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create your first GUI, which stands for Graphical User Interface. So let's just create a new project, Java application, and in this one I'm going to show you how to calculate the slope between 2 points. So let's name it Slope GUI. Now when you create the project, it creates a file here called slopegui.java. We don't actually want to use this file. So let's find that file in our project. We just created Slope GUI. So let's right click on Slope GUI and do New jframe form. And if you can't find it here, you might have to go to Other and then click on Swing GUI Forms and it should be there. Okay. So create New jframe form. Let's name it Slope GUI. Okay, so that created another file that says slopegui.java. If it confuses you that we have another one, just close that for now. And if you notice right here, we have 3 different views. Now, we're only concerned with these first 2, the one that says source and the one that says design. The design tab allows us to put things like buttons on here. It shows us exactly what our program is going to look like when we run it. The source tab has all the source code. And if you expand some of these plus signs, you'll see NetBeans has put a lot of the code in here for us. We'll just assume that it works. And the only code that we have to add is what happens when we click a button or how we interact with a text field. For example, how do we know what text the person typed into this text field? So I'll show you how to do that. In this tutorial, we're going to make a program that can calculate the slope between 2 points. So we need to have some way for the user to type in a couple points. So let's put a text field here. Let's put a label on top of everything that tells us what they should type. Let's put another text field here. And then let's have another label after that. We'll make it say enter another point. And you can just press enter when you're done typing. And let's put another text field for X and another text field for Y. And we don't actually want them to say jText field when we run it, so let's right click, edit text. Let's change this to be nothing. And then let's lengthen it out. By the way to edit these is to right click and then edit text. Press enter, lengthen it out. Right click on this guy, edit text, delete, enter, lengthen. Right click, edit, delete, enter, lengthen. Okay, now let's make a button that they can press to calculate the slope. So we right click and let's edit text and let's say calculate slope. Press enter. And let's make a little text field down at the bottom that can tell us the slope. And let's even put a label in front of that just so they know what it represents. Alright, so this is one of the most important parts. In order to get input from these 4 text fields, we need to know their variable name. Now when NetBeans created these components, it already assigned them a variable name. So if we right click, we can say change variable name. So right now, that first one is called jText field 1. And just to make it easier to remember for us, let's just call this one X1 field. And let's right click and change this one to be Y1 field. Let's right click, change this one to be X2 field. And this one will be Y2 field. Okay? And then we need to know what our output text field is called so that we can display text there. So let's right click that and click change variable name. Let's say slope field. Okay, now we need to add an event that happens when they click the button. So let's right click on calculate slope, the button, and let's go down to events, action, action performed. And this is going to bring us directly to the source code that will handle that button click. And right now there's nothing in here, so let's add some code. First thing we need to do is get those values from the text fields. So let's save them in some variables. And we want to be as precise as possible with our number calculation, so let's use a double variable type for x1, and let's assign it to be x1 field dot get text. And as you can see, there's an error here because the function getText actually returns a string. We can't put a string value in a variable that's supposed to only contain number values, like x1 here. So we just have to convert this into the right data type. So there's a cool function we can call called double, capital double, dot parse double. And the word parse just means look through this text and try to find some data. And in this case, of course, it's looking for data that could be stored as a double, which is a number data type. Okay? Now let's do the same thing with the three other text fields. So I'm copying and pasting, and let's change this to be y1, x2, and y2. All right, so now we have to calculate the slope between those 2 points. And if you don't remember from your math class how to do that, you could easily Google it, and it would tell you that the slope equals the change in y divided by the change in x. So we can just do that really easily. Let's just say double slope equals y2 minus y1, because that gives us the change in y, and divide that by x2 minus x1, the change in x. Now we just need to output that value in our slope field. So let's say slope field dot set text slope. And as you can see, there's a problem here because now slope is a number data type, and we're trying to put it in a text field which is supposed to only display strings. So now we have to convert it the other way. We have to go from a number to a string type, which is a lot easier. All we have to do is join it to an empty string. Quotes with nothing inside them are called the empty string. And if we join that to a number type, it'll convert the whole thing into a string, which is beautiful. So now that it's done, let's test it out. If I click run here, it's going to try to run the other file that was created right when we created the project. See, watch this. Nothing happened because it's trying to run this other file that we didn't do anything to, right? And the problem is because both this file and this file have code in them. More specifically, both of them have a main function. And a main function is the entry point or the starting point when you run the program. So it found both main functions and it's set up to only run this one. So an easy way to fix that is to just delete this file because we don't even need it. Make sure you're deleting the right one. Click OK. Now the only one that's left is this one with the design tab and the source that we didn't actually write here. So now when we press play, it says, hey, I can't find that main function that used to be there. And it says, maybe this is the one you're talking about, which is the new one that we want it to use. So let's just double click that. So we get a GUI. Let's say 1, 1, and 2, 2. The slope should be a 1. So if we click calculate slope, it looks like there's a problem. NaN means not a number, which is basically just an error message. It means something was wrong with our math. So let's take a look at our code. Looks like I accidentally used the same input field for all 4 of these variables. That's going to cause a big problem because it's going to take this value, a 1, and it's going to save it in all those variables, which means we get 1 minus 1 divided by 1 minus 1. So we've got 0 divided by 0, which is obviously an error in math. So let's fix that. Let's just say y1, and then x2, and then y2. Now it's going to look for inputs in all of those fields. Okay, so let's close that. Let's stop that, and let's rerun it. Now we put in the same value. Let's try 1, 1, 2, 2, calculate slope. And sure enough, our slope is 1. Hopefully that helps you get started. All you have to do now is calculate the midpoint between 2 points, as well as the distance between 2 points. Good luck.